Hey guys, I recently started reading the Popol Vuh again, which is the Mayan myth book pretty much about creation. And I was thinking about saying it's like the Mayan Bible, and then I was like, yeah, I'm not going to say that. But then on the cover of the copy that I have, it actually says by Carlos Fuentes, it is the Mayan Bible. So there you go. Anyway, I figured I would read part one. I thought about trying to type it up and do a blog about it and everything, but I think it's going to be easier just to read it. So, here we go. This is the beginning of the ancient word, here in this place called Quiche. Here we shall inscribe, we shall implant the ancient word, the potential and source for everything done in the citadel of Quiche, in the nation of Quiche people. And here we shall take up the demonstration, revelation, and account of how things were put in shadow and brought to light by the maker, modeler, named Bearer, Begetter, Hunapu Possum, Hunapu Coyote, Great White Peccary, Coati, Sovereign Plumed Serpent, Heart of the Lake, Heart of the Sea, Plate Shaper, Bowl Shaper, as they are called, also named, also described as the midwife, matchmaker, named Shpiakok, Shmukane, defender, protector, twice a midwife, twice a matchmaker, as is said in the words of Quiche. They accounted for everything, and did it too, as enlightened beings in enlightened words. We shall write about this now amid the preaching of God, in Christendom now. We shall bring it out because there is no longer a place to see it, a council book, a place to see the light that came from beside the sea, the account of our place in the shadows, a place to see the dawn of life, as it is called. There is the original book and ancient writing, but the one who reads and assesses it has a hidden identity. It takes a long performance and account to complete the lighting of all the sky earth. The fourfold sighting, fourfold cornering, measuring, fourfold staking, having the cord, stretching the cord in the sky on the earth, the four sides, the four corners, as it is said, by the maker, modeler, mother, father of life, of humankind, giver of breath, giver of heart, bearer, upbringer in the light that lasts, of those born in the light, begotten in the light, warrior, knower of everything, whatever there is, sky, earth, lake, sea. This is the account. Here it is. Now it still ripples. Now it still murmurs, ripples. It still sighs, still hums, and it is empty under the sky. Here follow the first words, the first eloquence. There is not yet one person, one animal, bird, fish, crab, tree, rock, hollow, canyon, meadow, forest. Only the sky alone is there. The face of the earth is not clear. Only the sea alone is pulled under all the sky. There is nothing whatever gathered together. It is at rest. Not a single thing stirs. It is held back, kept at rest under the sky. Whatever there is that might be is simply not there. Only the pooled water, only the calm sea, only it alone is pooled. Whatever might be is simply not there. Only murmurs, ripples in the dark, in the night. Only the maker, modeler, alone, sovereign plumed serpent, the bearers, begetters, are in the water, a glittering light. They are there. They are enclosed in quetzal feathers, in blue-green. Thus the name plumed serpent. They are great knowers, great thinkers in their very being. And of course there is the sky, and there is also the heart of sky. This is the name of the God, as it is spoken. And then came his word. He came here to the sovereign plumed serpent, here in the blackness in the early dawn. He spoke with the sovereign plumed serpent, and they talked. Then they thought. Then they worried. They agreed with each other. They joined their words, their thoughts, Then it was clear. Then they reached accord in the light, and then humanity was clear. When they conceived the growth, the generation of trees, of bushes, and the growth of life, of humankind, and the blackness and the early dawn, all because of the heart of sky, named Hurricane. Thunderbolt Hurricane comes first. The second is newborn Thunderbolt, and the third is sudden Thunderbolt. So there were 3 of them as heart of sky, who came to the sovereign plumed serpent, when the dawn of life was conceived. How should the sowing be, and the dawning? Who is to be the provider, nurturer? Let it be this way. Think about it. This water should be removed, emptied out for the formation of the earth's own plate and platform. Then should come the sowing, the dawning of the sky earth. But there will be no high days and no bright praise for our work, our design, until the rise of the human work, the human design, they said. And then the earth arose because of them. It was simply their word that brought it forth. For the forming of the earth, they said, earth. It arose suddenly, just like a cloud, like a mist, now forming, unfolding. Then the mountains were separated from the water. All at once the great mountains came forth. By their genius alone, by their cutting edge alone, they carried out the conception of the mountain plain, whose face grew instant groves of cypress and pine. And the plumed serpent was pleased with this. It was good that you came, heart of sky, hurricane, and newborn thunderbolt, sudden thunderbolt. Our work, our design will turn out well, they said. And the earth was formed first, the mountain plain. The channels of water were separated, their branches wound their ways among the mountains, the waters were divided when the great mountains appeared. Such was the formation of the earth when it was brought forth by the heart of sky, heart of earth, as they are called, since they were the first to think of it. The sky was set apart and the earth was set apart in the midst of the waters. Such was their plan when they worried about the completion of their work. Now they planned the animals of the mountains, all the guardians of the forests, creatures of the mountains, the deer, birds, pumas, jaguars, serpents, rattlesnakes, furdalons, guardians of the bushes. A bearer-begetter speaks. Why this pointless humming? Why should there merely be rustling beneath the trees and bushes? Indeed, they had better have guardians, the others replied. As soon as they thought it and said it, deer and birds came forth. And then they gave out homes to the deer and birds. You, the deer, sleep along the rivers and the canyons. Be here in the meadows and the thickets and the forests. Multiply yourselves. You will stand and walk on all fours, they were told. So then they established the nests of the birds, small and great. You, precious birds, your nests, your houses are in the trees, in the bushes. Multiply there, scatter there, in the branches of trees, the branches of bushes. The deer and birds were told. When this deed had been done, all of them had received a place to sleep and a place to stay. So it is that the nests of the animals are on the earth, given by the bearer-begetter. Now the arrangement of the deer and birds was complete. And then the deer and birds were told by the maker, modeler, bearer, begetter, talk, speak out. Don't moan, don't cry out. Please talk. Each to each, within each kind, within each group, they were told. The deer, birds, puma, jaguar, serpent. Name now our names. Praise us. We are your mother, we are your father. Speak now. Hurricane, newborn thunderbolt, sudden thunderbolt. Heart of sky, heart of earth, maker, modeler, bearer, begetter. Speak, pray to us, keep our days, they were told. But it didn't turn out that they spoke like people. They just squawked, they just chattered, they just howled. It was apparent what language they spoke. Each one gave a different cry. When the maker modeler heard this, it hasn't turned out well. They haven't spoken, they said among themselves. It hasn't turned out that our names have been named, since we are their mason and sculptor. This will not do, the bearers and begetters said among themselves. So they told them, "You will simply have to be transformed. Since it hasn't turned out well and you haven't spoken, we have changed our word. What you feed on, what you eat, the places where you sleep, the places where you stay, whatever is yours will remain in the canyons, the forests. Although it turned out that our days were not kept, nor did you pray to us, there may yet be strength in the keeper of days, the giver of praise, whom we have yet to make. Just accept your service. Just let your flesh be eaten." "So be it. This must be your service," they were told when they were instructed, the animals, small and great, on the face of the earth. And then they wanted to test their timing again. They wanted to experiment again, and they wanted to prepare for the keeping of days again. They had not heard their speech among the animals. It did not come to fruition, and it was not complete. And so their flesh was brought low. They served, they were eaten, they were killed, the animals on the face of the earth. Again there comes an experiment with the human work, the human design by the maker, modeler, bearer, begetter. It must simply be tried again. The time for the planting and dawning is near. For this we must make a provider and nurturer. How else can we be invoked and remembered on the face of the earth? We have already made our first try at our work and design, but it turned out that they didn't keep our days, nor did they glorify us. So now let's try to make a giver of praise, giver of respect, provider, nurturer, they said. So then comes the building and working with earth and mud. They made a body, but it didn't look good to them. It was just separating, just crumbling, just loosening, just softening, just disintegrating, and just dissolving. Its head wouldn't turn either. Its face was just lopsided, its face was just twisted. It couldn't look around. It talked at first, but senselessly. It was quickly dissolving in the water. "It won't last," the mason and sculptor said then. "It seems to be dwindling away, so let it just dwindle. It can't walk and it can't multiply, so let it be merely a thought," they said. So then they dismantled again. They brought down their work and design. Again they talked. "What is there for us to make that would turn out well, that would succeed in keeping our days and praying to us?" they said. Then they planned again. "We'll just tell Shpayakak, Shmukane, Hunapu Pasum, Hunapu Coyote to try a counting of days, a counting of lots," the mason and sculptor said to themselves. Then they invoked Shpayakok, Shmukane. Then comes the naming of those who are the midmost seers, the grandmother of day, grandmother of light, as the maker modeler called them. These are names of Shpayakok and Shmukane. When Hurricane had spoken with the sovereign plumed serpent, they invoked the daykeepers, diviners, the midmost seers. There is yet to find, yet to discover how we are to model a person, construct a person again, a provider, a nurturer, so that we are called upon and we are recognized. Our recompense is in words. Midwife, matchmaker, our grandmother, our grandfather, Shpayakok, Shmukane. Let there be planting, let there be the dawning of our invocation, our sustenance, our recognition by the human work, the human design, the human figure, the human form. So be it. Fulfill your names. Hunapu Possum, Hunapu Coyote, bearer twice over, begetter twice over, great Packery, great Coati, lapidary, jeweler, sawyer, carpenter, plate shaper, bowl shaper, incense maker, master craftsman, grandmother of day, grandmother of light. You have been called upon because of our work, our design. Run your hands over the kernels of corn, over the seeds of the coral tree. Just get it done. Just let it come out, whether we should carve and gouge a mouth, a face in wood, they told the daykeepers. And then comes the borrowing, the counting of days. The hand is moved over the corn kernels, over the coral seeds, the days, the lots. Then they spoke to them, one of them a grandmother, the other a grandfather. This is the grandfather. This is the master of coral seeds. Spiakuk is his name. And this is the grandmother, the daykeeper, the viner who stands behind others. Shmukane is her name. And they said, as they set out the days, just let it be found, just let it be discovered. Say it, our ear is listening. May you talk, may you speak. Just find the wood for the carving and sculpting by the builder-sculptor. Is this to be the provider, the nurturer, when it comes to the planting, the dawning? You corn kernels, you coral seeds, you days, you lots, may you succeed, may you be accurate, they said to the corn kernels, coral seeds, days, lots. Have shame, you up there, heart of sky. Attempt no deception before the mouth and face of sovereign plumed serpent, they said. Then they spoke straight to the point. It is well that there be your mannequins, wood carvings, talking, speaking there on the face of the earth. So be it, they replied. The moment they spoke, it was done. The mannequins, wood carvings, human in looks and human in speech. This was the peopling of the face of the earth. They came into being, they multiplied, they had daughters, they had sons, these mannequins, wood carvings. But there was nothing in their hearts and nothing in their minds, no memory of their mason and builder. They just went and walked wherever they wanted. Now they did not remember the heart of sky. And so they fell. Just an experiment and just a cutout for humankind. They were talking at first, but their faces were dry. They were not yet developed in the legs and arms. They had no blood, no lymph. They had no sweat, no fat. Their complexions were dry, their faces were crusty. They flailed their legs and arms, their bodies were deformed. And so they accomplished nothing before the maker, modeler, who gave them birth, gave them heart. They became the first numerous people here on the face of the earth. And again, there comes a humiliation, destruction, and demolition. The mannequins, wood carvings, were killed when the heart of sky devised a flood for them. A great flood was made. It came down on the heads of the mannequins, wood carvings. The man's body was carved from the wood of the coral tree by the maker-modeler. And as for the woman, the maker-modeler needed the hearts of bulrushes for the woman's body. They were not competent, nor did they speak before the builder and sculptor who made them and brought them forth, and so they were killed, done in by a flood. There came a rain of resin from the sky. There came the one named Gouger of Faces. He gouged out their eyeballs. There came sudden bloodletter. He snapped off their heads. There came crunching Jaguar. He ate their flesh. There came tearing Jaguar. He tore them open. They were pounded down to the bones and tendons, smashed and pulverized even to the bones. Their faces were smashed because they were incompetent before the mother and her father, the heart of sky, named Hurricane. The earth was blackened because of this. The black rainstorm began. Rain all day and rain all night. Into their houses came the animals, small and great. Their faces were crushed by things of wood and stone. Everything spoke. Their water jars, their tortilla griddles, their plates, their cooking pots, their dogs, their grinding stones, each and everything crushed their faces. Their dogs and turkeys told them, "You caused us pain. You ate us. But now it is you whom we shall eat." And this is the grinding stone. We were undone because of you. Every day, in the dark, in the dawn, forever. Rip, rip, rub, rub, right in our faces because of you. This was the service we gave you at first, when you were still people. But today you will learn of our power. We shall pound and we shall grind your flesh, their grinding stones told them. And this is what their dogs said when they spoke in their turn. "Why is it you can't seem to give us our food? We just watch and you just keep us down. And you throw us around. You keep a stick ready when you eat just so you can hit us. We don't talk, so we've received nothing from you. How could you not have known? How you did know that we were wasting away there behind you. So this very day you will taste the teeth of our mouths. We shall eat you, their dogs told them, and their faces were crushed. And then their tortilla griddles and cooking pots spoke to them in turn. Pain! That's all you've done for us. Our mouths are sooty, our faces are sooty. By setting us on the fire all the time you burn us. Since we felt no pain, you try it. We shall burn you, all their cooking pots said, crushing their faces. The stones, their heartstones, were shooting out, coming right out of the fire, going for their heads, causing them pain. Now they run for it, helter-skelter. They want to climb up on the houses, but they fall as the houses collapse. They want to climb the trees. They're thrown off by the trees. They want to get inside caves, but the caves slam shut in their faces. Such was the scattering of the human work, the human design. The people were ground down, overthrown. The mouths and faces of all of them were destroyed and crushed. And it used to be said that the monkeys in the forests today are a sign of this. They were left as a sign because wood alone was used for their flesh by the builder and sculptor. So this is why monkeys look like people. They are a sign of a previous human work, human design, mere mannequins, mere wood carvings. This was when there was just a trace of early dawn on the face of the earth. There was no sun. But there was one who magnified himself. Seven Macaw was his name. The sky earth was already there, but the face of the sun and moon was clouded over. Even so, it is said that his light provided a sign for the people who were flooded. He was like a person of genius in his being. I am great. My place is now higher than that of the human work, the human design. I am their sun, and I am their light, and I am also their month. So be it. My light is great. I am the walkway, and I am the foothold of the people because my eyes are of metal. My teeth just glitter with jewels and turquoise as well. They stand now blue with stones like the face of the sky. And this nose of mine shines white into the distance like the moon. Since my nest is metal, it lights up the face of the earth. When I come forth before my nest, I am like the sun and moon for those who are born in the light, begotten in the light. It must be so, because my face reaches into the distance, says Seven Macaw. It is not true that he is the sun, this Seven Macaw. Yet he magnifies himself, his wings, his metal. But the scope of his face lies right around his own perch. His face does not reach everywhere beneath the sky. The faces of the sun, moon, and stars are not yet visible. It has not yet dawned. And so Seven Macaw puffs himself up, as the days and the months, though the light of the sun and moon has not yet clarified. He only wished for surpassing greatness. This was when the flood was worked upon the mannequins' wood carvings. And now we shall explain how Seven Macaw died when the people were vanquished, done in by the mason and sculptor. So that was part one. Yeah, we'll see how this goes. Maybe we'll read part two later. I mean, that's pretty interesting to me, personally. Again, you know, a lot of times you can look at mythology and pretty much every culture has a myth about a great flood. This one seems to be a bit unique in that, you know, suddenly dogs and other animals can talk. Stranger more that their cooking utensils and everything comes to life. And in this case, the flood doesn't seem to be just rain, like the biblical account. It just rains for 40 days and 40 nights and all that. But you still have the animals coming into a shelter. Only in this case, the animals come into the shelter to destroy the humans. So it seems to be more of a reign of terror as opposed to necessarily just water, if that makes any sense. I don't know if that's a deeper thing for the Mayans or what, but it's different than other flood myths that I know of. But the whole thing is real interesting to me. People being made out of corn, or at least the corn being their essential being. They're carved out of wood bulrushes and coral trees and stuff. But that might tie into the Native American dependence on maize. I haven't done a terrible amount of study on the Mayans. I know a little bit about them and all that, so I don't. And I know in general, maize and corn was important to Native Americans, as far as I understand it, at any rate. So that may well have something to do with it. But yeah, it's interesting. Their original deities, if you will, they reference birds and natural things, like hurricanes and thunderbolts and things of this nature. I know the Cherokee creation myth has to do with a giant beetle, as the primary person there. So it's pretty interesting to make a jump from European and Asian mythology, where the gods are personified and very similar to people and all these things, and then make the jump here where as the Cherokee, your creator is a beetle. Here the creator seems to be more tied in with strict nature, more so than the European myths and the Asian myths and everything. So yeah, I don't know. If you want to leave some thoughts in the comments or anything, or if this was just a terrible idea, whatever works, let me know. We'll see where that goes. And yeah, like I said, maybe we just read the whole Popol Vuh eventually together. And I'll put the reference information in the comments, so the copy that I have and all that cool stuff. All right, y'all have a good one.